Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video. Myself, Amato. As always, we're here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Now, I do have a bit of gaming news as well to kind of round things off, but I'll tackle that last. The first thing I want to discuss is a new update, which has unfortunately broken overclocking. Now, obviously not completely broken it, but there has been a new Microsoft/Intel Microcode update, which has broken Haswell E and Broadwell E overclock, as multiple people who make use of the X99 platform have said that their tweaks and overclocks are no longer working after the recent update KB4100347 was installed. Yep, that name just rolls right off the tongue, as I'm sure you can appreciate. So you might wonder, okay, what was this update? Is it something I can avoid? And obviously you can if you want, but it is an Intel meltdown related microcode update to obviously help sort of patch that vulnerability. So basically what users are reporting is that after this update, the overclocking that they had done has been wiped and they cannot actually re-overclock, as it keeps going back to reference clocks, and this unfortunately has been reported with multiple manufacturers. So there might be a further BIOS update that would need to be done that would re-enable these overclocks, but obviously the thing that you can do for the moment, if you can't live without these overclocks until that is fixed, and of course it might not even be fixed anytime soon, the best thing to do is obviously uninstall the update. And several users reported that, yep, once this update was removed, again, KB4100347, their overclocks were once again working just as before. So if you are a user who've noticed that for some reason it's defaulting to the base clock, this is why, and this is how to fix it, basically. So it's not exactly brilliant that a update that I would argue is pretty damn important has also broken a very important feature for anyone using Haswell E and Broadwell E. You would have thought that this would come up in testing. I mean, obviously it is very, very possible, especially with something so complex, to miss a bug or something like that when something goes so complex, as I already said. So it might have just been missed, or they might have just gone, it's fine. I mean, it was probably just missed, to be honest with you, but obviously I don't know. That is entirely possible that just wanted to get the update out and are going to release a further update that fixes this issue, or it just was missed in testing, because of course you can't test for everything, and multiple people using a product, it's obviously going to be more thorough, I guess, than one or two people in a lab testing what they can think of to search for any issues or anything that might break and so on and so forth. So, not brilliant, but as I said, you can just uninstall the update if you don't want to wait for a potential fix to this. But we're going to move on to our next Intel topic, which is continuing on the 14nm shortage. Of course, we have said multiple times over the last few days even about the Intel 14nm shortage. Obviously, Intel are trying to combat this because it has resulted in price increases, and of course AMD are very much going to be potentially poised to take very, very real advantage of this. They've of course moved the H310 chipset to 22nm, as I discussed just the other day, but now we have a recent update from Intel which is basically saying that they are ramping up 14nm production to try and meet the high demand. Obviously, they are responding not only to, of course, their concerned investors, customers, and so on, but obviously the state of the market, and obviously try and sort of tamp down the flames a little bit. Now, I do have a bit of a statement here saying, quote, "In order to ensure a continuous supply of the Intel processors listed in the products affected table below, Intel will be adding an additional manufacturing site for test/finished goods. This new site is located in Vietnam. The new manufacturing site has been certified equivalent form, fit, function, and reliability for the affected products and technologies of this change. Fabrication, sort, and assembly test facilities follow a copy exactly for philosophy. Copy exactly enables delivery of product from multiple production sites, which operate as a virtual factory that performs consistently and independent of the manufacturing source site. Additional benefits include faster production ramps that improve product availability and improve consistency to quality performance." So basically, they're not stopping at moving their older chipsets to an older process. They are, of course, trying to increase the production of 14nm, which is very, very much in demand for reasons that you pretty much should know in your sleep by now. All of their processors ever use 14nm, it feels like, and of course 10nm has been delayed multiple times, and so just a lot of strain on the supply that they do have. So obviously increasing production is like the first thing that you would do in this situation, and obviously Intel are very, very aware that the market is responding to their issues. AMD are ready to pounce pretty much from the discussion we had yesterday regarding their analyst comments. Go check that video out if you haven't seen it, by the way, as it is rather interesting, if you do say so myself. But the TLDR is essentially that AMD could take a significant portion of the CPU market share away from Intel while they are in this rather stretched-in state with 14nm production. So with all that said, we're going to move on to our next tech topic for today before moving on to our gaming topic to finish things off. And this is actually regarding Samsung and DRAM prices. So you may have seen the rumblings and reports as of late that analysts are expecting a potential downturn for the server DRAM market. And perhaps in response to this, perhaps in response to other things, Samsung are essentially tightening their belts when it comes to the manufacturing of DRAM. So you might be wondering, okay, so what are they actually expecting in terms of this downturn for DRAM? And they are expecting a growth to be less than 20% year over year. So essentially what Samsung are doing here is they're trying to, of course, stabilize themselves, but of course this is naturally going to have a potential effect on the market. Now, if this downturn does take place like analysts expect, because of course it very much could just not happen and they've done this for no reason, but obviously it's better to prepare and all that. But it could mean that people such as yourself and of course myself will have to deal with memory prices remaining what they are, or possibly even increasing again, which is not really brilliant given that memory prices have been a touch high, to say the least, for quite some time. Now, this was thanks to a report by Bloomberg, and there is going to be a link in the description below this video. And we do have an analyst for Bloomberg Intelligence, Anthea Lay, and she said, quote, "If Samsung does cut its DRAM bit growth, it shows the company is happy with the current oligopoly market structure. It prefers keeping supply tight and prices high rather than taking market share and risking lower prices. Therefore, chances for DRAM prices to stay strong is higher." Of course, we're going to have to wait and see exactly what effect, if any, this is going to have. Of course, if the downturn does not happen, then the market will respond in kind. If it does happen again, we could see prices remain the same or once again increase. Can't really blame Samsung for potentially tightening their belts because, well, they are a company at the end of the day. They are a business. They want to try and stabilise their profits as much as possible. But obviously, it doesn't exactly put a smile on my face to know that DRAM prices could be increasing. Although, obviously, this is more to do with server DRAM, it is obviously going to have a ripple effect across that particular technology space, as we have seen, well, over the last year, to be honest, with memory prices and how they have been. And it's entirely possible that the downturn will happen outside of the server market, that it's going to happen, in the market that actually directly affects you and I. We just don't know. It is, of course, based upon a prediction, or because it could just be all fine. It could be all dandy and swimming. That would obviously be best. But with all that said, let's move on to our final topic for today, which is, So, one of the things we saw revealed at E3 2018 was, of course, Devil May Cry 5, and I was very, very excited to see it because, well, I actually liked the DMC reboot. Obviously, New Dante is not brilliant, but the actual game itself, really, really good. A touch on the easy side, but really, really good. But obviously, Dante's back, and we saw Nero was on, I was like, great, sweet, sign me up. But we've had some less than brilliant news thanks to GameSpot, who have been at TGS, that being Tokyo Game Show. And they've brought with them the unfortunate news, the facepalm-worthy news, that DMC5 is going to have microtransactions. And it's not going to be costumes or anything like that, which would be fine. It's actually regarding the fact that you can buy red orbs with real money to speed up your character progression. So obviously, anyone who's even looked at a DMC game for more than a minute will know that in the game, you get red orbs from defeating enemies and so on and so forth, breaking pots open, all that usual stuff, and they use it to upgrade your character. So the fact that you can basically pay to win is not great. Yes, it's a single player game, of course. The only person you are affecting is yourself, but why are they there? Why are these microtransactions there in a $60 game? If it was a cosmetic thing where you could dress Dante up like Sailor Moon or something, great, sign me up. But this? No. No. And of course, they're painting it under the usual player choice brush, which just makes me vomit inside every time they bring it out. But let's see what they had to say. I've got a comment here from the game director Hideaki Itsuno, who said, quote, "With giving people the ability to purchase red orbs, it's something we want to give people as an option." There's that word again. If they want to save time and just want to get all the stuff done at once, those people can do that. But on the other hand, I don't feel you have to get all the moves. You should be able to play it the way you want to play it. It's interesting because from a game design point of view, there's two different things we think about when we set the prices of the moves, skills, and abilities. First thing is the stuff that we feel people should want to get first is made cheaper. So people think, oh, this is cheap, so I'm just going to buy this. But then for the stuff that's going to be harder to use and master, we make that more expensive. Partly because you save up for that, you're not going to be able to buy as many skills, so you're going to have the time to learn it. And you have to make the decision, between going for the cheaper stuff or saving up. Getting this thing has a lot of application, but you have to spend time learning and perfecting. Now, further to this, I also have some comments from Matt Walker, who is a producer over at Capcom. And basically someone tweeted at him because people are understandably thrashing Capcom and DMC for having these microtransactions. And he said, quote, "Thanks for the tweet. It's understandable that people are worried about microtransactions in games. I'm happy knowing that people will be reassured when they play the game and find that it's been balanced the way all other DMCs have been." But as I've said before many, many times now, it doesn't matter who the developer is. It does not matter. If there's microtransactions in your game, be it multiplayer, single player, whatever, obviously in this case it's a single player, and it affects gameplay, in this case obviously it's directly linked to gameplay, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you've not been tempted, even slightly, to tweak it so that it's more work for me to play it as I normally would than it is just for me to get out my credit card or whatever. Don't tell me you weren't tempted to tweak it, to make it grindy or whatever, to get the red orbs and make it faster for me, just to be like, do you know what, I'm like, X amount of red orbs away, screw it, I'm just going to pay. Don't tell me you weren't tempted, and don't tell me that hasn't happened in the past where we have direct evidence of games being skewed and things taking ages to unlock via actual gameplay to try and tempt people into paying. That is a thing that has happened, maybe not with this particular series, but it has happened in the past, so I don't buy it, to be honest. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how much of an effect this actually has. Obviously, it's hard to compare to old games. If it literally is a like for like, okay, that's better, but I still hate that these are there. I really do. I mean, if you've watched this channel for more than 5 minutes, you'll know that I really, really dislike microtransactions in full price games. If it's cosmetic, it's like, alright, fair enough. That doesn't bother me because it's like, okay, if you want to pay $5 or whatever to look cool, by all means. Stuff like this, though, is just like, yeah, you're only affecting yourself, but I still hate it. I still hate the fact that it's there. That $60 is not enough. And there's going to be DLC as well, probably. So, and I just hate the fact that they trot out this player choice thing every time. And I'm like, don't give me that. Do not give me that excuse. Just stop. Actually, just cease. So, yeah. Unfortunately, microtransactions in games aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So, let me know your thoughts on this one, guys. I'll see you next time.